Hey, we are live. This is Live at Epiphan, and I'm all alone today. My colleagues Dan and George and Matt and the other people who sometimes come on the show, they're away today. But we have some very special guests. We have our friends from PTZ Optics coming on the show today. I've got them all queued up on Skype here, and we're going to go through and talk about their product line. We're going to spend time talking about their experience at NAB. And we're going to dive a little bit into how they do some of their own live streaming and marketing for their products. They have been doing live shows and product videos for years. As long as I've been here, I've been seeing their videos come in. So I'd like to find out about what's been working for them, what hasn't been working, and how they've been able to build up a big audience, because they've got a lot of really great things going on. If you visit their YouTube channel, you'll see all kinds of really awesome videos. What else do we have? Oh yes, we're here on the chat. Interact with us. Let us know what you think. We got a lot of great feedback last week, and it's been building up. Lots of people interacting, so let us know what you want to talk about. And we have some Webcaster news, which we'll share with you, a little Webcaster update, because we know something that's been bugging a lot of you. We fixed it, and it's better. It's going to be new and improved. I guess that's about it for news. What's the episode is this? 57? This is our 57th episode live at Epiphan. And let's bring in our guests today. We've got PTZ Optics folks right here. I can see them on my Skype window. How's our audio, Geraldine? We were literally setting up audio, what was it, about 10 seconds ago. We were trying to get sorted because we had some internet issues. And Geraldine's telling me the audio is way high, but we're going to try and turn that down and see what we can do. We have Paul and Tess. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, we've been admirers of you guys because you do such a great job on social media. We see how much YouTube videos and Facebook videos you guys put together on, it seems like every couple of days you're getting stuff out there. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a fun ride. It's a crazy industry, and here we are just a couple weeks after NAB, and it seems like we got flipped on our heads a little bit with all the new stuff coming out.
Yeah, NAB is always a big time of year because we get all kinds of news about new technologies that are ongoing there. I know Dan and other George sat down with you for a few minutes during your one of your many live videos that you did while you were there. So tell me, how were your impressions of NAB? Did you have a good show?
It was great. You know, I think that there was it was just a steady improvement and incremental changing in the industry. It was Tess's first time in Las Vegas and first time at NAB. What'd you think?
Wow, it was a whirlwind, but it was really an eye-opening experience being in the industry, and it was so fun to meet everybody that we've spoken to, whether it's online or email. It was really great to put a face to those names.
That's great. I was there as well, and I've been there the last couple of times. But it's always I find you come away wanting to know more with more questions than answers, you know, because you find out about so many other new technologies and things that are happening. So maybe like as we just got started here, you could fill in our audience about who is PTZ Optics and what do you guys do? Because some of our audience, I'm sure, knows all about your camera line, but some don't. So maybe you can give us the overview.
Sure. So we focus on creating, our motto is broadcast quality made affordable. So we have pan-tilt zoom cameras and controllers that work with almost virtually any live streaming and video production platform, including the Pearl via SDI. I know we've worked with you guys on that. But we have USB models, SDI models, HDMI models, NDI models, even pan-tilt zoom camera models that are actually don't have pan-tilt zoom, that are just, we call them Z-cams for zoom. So a lot of different camera models. We have power over Ethernet, PoE, IP streaming, IP control, a whole bunch of features that I won't go over everything right now, but our goal is to create broadcast quality products that are affordable so that you know, a single person or small teams can put together our cameras with different pieces of hardware and produce professional television quality broadcasts.
So one of the cameras you mentioned there, you called it a zoom camera. What exactly is a zoom camera?
I've got one right here I can probably pull over. So we have these. Let's see if I can pull this one over, or it might be a little too much. It's a little too. It's on a tripod. Never mind, not that one. Here's one here. I'll grab. So these ones are basically PoE SDI cameras that you can put in a place where you don't need to pan tilt zoom, and you just need like a close-up shot, or you need to zoom in.
So they're a bit more simplified that way, like just when you don't need any of that kind of panning, tilting, and zooming, but you want a really good image quality. Is that kind of the offering?
Yeah, you can still control it remotely for zoom, but it's just kind of a static image, in a courtroom or maybe in a sports area where you just want one shot of like a goal post or something, and you never need it to move around.
A lot of times it's an additional shot for people that already have some of our pan tilt zoom cameras.
Sure.
It's also a budget option that if they'd like to add another camera angle but like to keep their budget a little bit on the lower side, they can add one of those cameras as well. That's
awesome. I see we've already got a bunch of other PTZ Optics fans coming in here. We've got Mike Swain and Power Jams and Brian Cote, lots of nice people saying nice things about your product. So we knew we would get a certain amount of feedback just because you guys seem to have a big, rich following. So
hey guys,
what's your latest greatest then? Like we've known about your pan tilt zooms for a while, from SDI and HDMI. Where I guess the NDI cameras probably your newer cameras on the line?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like HDMI, SDI, and then NDI. It kind of just fits into that, those acronyms. But NDI stands for Network Device Interface, and it's a protocol from NewTek, and it's pretty popular. It's built into hundreds of different products, many announced at NAB. And the cool thing about it is that any of our products, whether it's one of our SDI cameras that had been purchased a year ago or one of the brand new ones, they can all be upgraded to support this protocol called NDI HX, high efficiency, and jinx, double jinx. But basically, it allows for low latency video all over Ethernet. So there will be a time, and it's coming very soon, when SDI and HDMI may not be needed as much anymore, and everyone's going to transition over to IP. So it's not the full wave of the future hasn't fully been implemented yet. We're still seeing a lot more people still using SDI and HDMI, but the potential to move everything over to a single Ethernet cable for powering your camera, controlling your camera, and getting video and audio all over an IP connection is not only going to, we know people who have pounds of cables, 100, SDI cabling is heavy. And if you've got 5 cameras that all need to be 100 feet, you need to do 500, pounds of SDI cables. If you can just simplify that all down to just a single Ethernet cable, it makes life so much easier. So that's the goal with NDI.
Even newer than that, we just announced a 30x PTZ camera. So that's probably the newest innovation.
The newest, yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way. I can see how the NDI would be a big plus. Even here in our little studio, we've got buckets of cables just to run the short distances we have. So being able to transmit a lot of that data would be fantastic. I know it's something our customers have asked us about, and we certainly are looking into it for our product line as well. So who have we got here? We've got Harry talking about, he says, keep up the good work from Webster, Massachusetts. No, Webster.
Nice.
Webster, Massachusetts. Not too far from you guys in Philadelphia, right?
Hi, Wes.
I've got people looming behind the scenes here, so I'm wondering if we have an audio problem of some kind at all, or it could be a sync issue, but I think that's just the nature of Skyping in guests here. What have we got?
Live video for you.
Oh, we've got a bit of a buzz coming in.
Sorry we didn't have more time for testing, George.
No. Well, this is how these things go when we do our live setups. Things happen like this, but it kind of makes life interesting too, and we have all these great people to tell us how we're doing, so that's good. So as I mentioned off the top, one of the other aspects I wanted to talk to you about was your marketing efforts, because you guys have been huge on YouTube and Facebook for a number of years now, and it seems like you put out a tremendous amount of content. So maybe just to start, tell me, like, where does the impetus for that come from? Like, obviously you want to reach more people, but what are your goals when you put out all of this footage now? Like, what are you trying to create?
So, it's interesting when you take a step back from, what Facebook is and what YouTube is. They're very different. Facebook is really a social media network. YouTube, in essence, is a video search engine. And, we've been looking at a lot of different ways to get more attention and build a community. And I think when Tess came on about a year ago, we really started to realize that it's not about, reaching a bajillion people. It's not about width. It's about depth. And so it's about the 100 people or the 2,000 people that we have in our user group that really care. And those people, the people that will tune in and follow you, you create your content for them and have a really core following that you care about. And that is the most powerful way to scale and achieve a lot of the goals that you have, because they become your crowdsourcing for information on what you should be doing next.
Right.
They become the inspiration for your video. And Facebook, and when Tess brought all that Facebook stuff into there, it really was such a change in way we started doing business. And I don't know if you want to explain maybe the Facebook side of it.
The key word in all of this is community. Now, we had a few dedicated members of our community to start with. And by really paying attention to them, nurturing them, and giving them what they need, it has grown our community, because people want to be part of something that's the thing. People want to be part of something. So if you create a space that's helpful for people that are a part of it and that are engaging with one another, building relationships, it's really set us apart from some of the other big camera companies out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
We're kind of playing to that we are a smaller company, but we're also reachable and we're human.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea with our marketing efforts.
Who do you find is your audience? Like, obviously you'd have your own customers, but it's got to be beyond just your own customers, because that's somewhat limiting, right? So do you find there's a trend of, like, is it all people who are interested in AV gear, that kind of thing, who tunes into your shows? Or
there's a couple different areas that we see people coming in from. One of our largest areas is houses of worship, people looking to bring audiovisual aspects into their house of worship. We see a lot of sports people coming in, and there's areas that are transitioning from recorded content to live video. So even content creators who are looking to begin live streaming, we see a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different personas. There's honestly too many to count. But generally with our marketing, we will try to cater to specific personas to provide additional value, as opposed to trying to have like a bland thing that covers all. We do try to create unique content per persona, like specific to House of Worship one week, specific to sports another week, which is an interesting juggling act, because you want to create content that will appeal to all of your community and all of your personas, but that's impossible. And I think sometimes it's more valuable to create content that's specific to a niche, and then we try to pull in the community aspect and do things that would be, even if it's a market-specific presentation on houses of worship, to try to make the content itself applicable to all users of the product, or all people considering streaming, for example. So we do see generally the same people tuning into all broadcasts, even if it's for a specific niche that they're not part of, because of the way that we try to tailor the content so the content is applicable to a large range of technology users, but it's still really powerful to do that unique content-specific kind of searchable content as well.
Sure, I know we're kind of in the same boat here, in that we sell equipment that is applicable in so many different industries, from education to live events to gamers and YouTubers. And so we sometimes struggle, or at least I do personally, figuring out who do we want to talk to with this, and do we want to try to talk to everybody, or do we try to go really specific to a certain vertical? But I know a lot of the people that seem to tune into this show seem to be from the content creator side. So what kind of, like, as far as I know, I hadn't seen a lot of pickup in terms of the PTZ camera world, in terms of the content creators. In fact, when we did a show upon it the first time we did a show about PTZ cameras in a general way. There was a lot of people who were kind of surprised just at that camera form factor in general, because you don't see it when you see people talking about the cinema cameras and the SLRs and that kind of world. So have you seen a pickup in terms of PTZ cameras coming into the content creator space at all?
Not really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean, yes and no. Well, no, we do. I don't think that the content creator space is moving away from digital SLRs just to have a pan-tilt zoom camera. We do have a lot of customers, and in general, the market is growing significantly. I just don't think that the general YouTuber at this point is spending $2,000 or a couple $1,000s on live streaming gear. They seem to be on a pretty low budget usually.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless they're looking to build a live studio.
Yeah. Well, no, we are seeing. I'm sorry. It's just I went to a show in California. My general thought was that it's not the biggest target market for us, but I mean, we love creators. We consider ourselves creators.
I'm guessing you're using your own cameras for this show here. Like when you guys do your studio, is it all decked out fully your own PTZ cameras?
Our normal show, which I could kind of show you guys what it looks like, is always all of our own cameras. So we use a 20x camera, another 20x camera with a box camera. We have like other cameras on the ceiling and on the wall. So we use all of our cameras, but right now we're actually using a webcam because our broadcast studio internet died on us. So I apologize for.
Yeah, that's partially why I'm told we have kind of a buzzy audio today. Like maybe people can let us know on YouTube and Facebook. But part of that is because we were, as you mentioned, counting down 30 seconds, 20 seconds, trying to sort out the audio and the video because we had internet problems. So I do apologize to any of the viewers who are finding the audio is not great, but yeah, let me know. We have lots of people commenting here saying they use your equipment and Power Jams, DJs. He uses them for all of his live streams for his business and clients. And so, yeah, it seems like you definitely have a big fan base here because people are chiming in here who know about your gear. So that's awesome. That's kind of one of the reasons why we wanted to connect with you. Because we know there's a big overlap between people who buy our equipment, live streaming equipment, and studio in a box equipment like our Pearls and stuff, but they also need great cameras to go with that, so it's kind of a good fit. So what do you guys have coming up on your show? Like you have all kinds of YouTube channels and shows and where you have introduced topics in a general way and you do deep dives into your own equipment. You mentioned before we came on about an award show that you have coming up. Maybe you could
tell so that's
our,
the next
our
big
audience
thing
about that.
on our docket is the 2018 Streaming Awards, which you can learn more about at streamingawards.com. And we have all bunch of sponsors that are giving away products to the top 5 to 10 winners. Last year we had about 60 nominations, I believe. And these are people with live streaming shows just like George, so hopefully we can get you nominated. But everyone gets nominated, and then their fans vote for them, and then we do this live stream to YouTube where it's like live voting. So if someone gets a lot of votes and they have their community start voting, they might go up to the top to #1, and then if someone else is getting a lot of votes, they go up, and it's this like live dashboard stream to YouTube with all of the results from the stream it'll be the last 2 weeks in May.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds awesome. I know you, oh, I lost my earpiece here. You guys have done a great job interacting, using all kinds of interactivity within your streams. I noticed you've done a lot of polling within your shows and other kind of interactive elements. And we've been looking at that, especially at NAB. We saw countless vendors doing sort of layering on top of live streams, whether it's polling or bringing in other dynamic content from other sources. So it's nice to see you guys grabbing onto that and running with it for your own shows. And this would be another example. Now, obviously, you're not talking about this polling that you're talking about is not in a live streaming capacity. It's like a permanent, it runs for 2 weeks, you said, right? The polling?
Yeah, so we do 2 different types of kind of polling trivia. So on our show, we'll do live trivia, which we found is a great way to keep people engaged, and we do a giveaway. So we'll do trivia, and we'll ask 10 questions to the audience, and it's a great way to have like a little competition between the audience and kind of have fun that way.
The leaderboard that you were talking
Yes,
about
is different.
24/7 stream for a couple weeks.
Yeah, for the leaderboard,
Repopulated.
I think we did a video on how that's set up, but we use vMix data sources integrated with Google Forms. So Google Forms, everyone can go on and vote for their favorite. But right now we're accepting nominations. Once we have all the nominations, we put them into a Google form. Everyone can vote for who they want to win. And then vMix has a feature called data sources where it pulls in the live data into their titling system, which will populate the top 10 spots of the streaming awards, and then we just stream right from vMix to YouTube and Facebook, and then as that changes live, it just calculates who's in the top ranks for the streaming awards.
That's very cool. Well, we'll definitely check in on the streaming awards. We'll throw our own hat in the ring probably as well.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody nominate Epiphan.
Yeah, thanks for telling us about the show. The show, and it's nice that you actually have a real show as well at the end, like where you invite people into your space and you get to see what you do a little bit, right? So a little bit more behind the curtain, but in a real way. Yeah. Well, maybe I should probably wrap up. Thanks for joining us, PTZ Optics, Tess and Paul. It's been really great having you on, and we got to go on your show at NAB as well. So we had George Herbert saying thanks for that as well. So
yeah, I see George in the chat.
Yeah.
Hi, George.
Nice. So I'm going to say thanks to our friends at PTZ Optics. We'll see you again next time, and I'll let people know about the Webcaster news. So see you later, our Skype friends.
Thanks, George.
Thank you so much.
So in terms of Webcaster, we do have a little bit of news, and that is, what do we call it? Kiosking? Is that what we called it, Geraldine? Captive networks. So the use case would be you have your Webcaster X2 and you go into a hotel and you want to live stream over their Wi-Fi network. Well, as you know, when you go into a hotel or a public place like that, it brings up something in the browser that says, yes, you have to agree to join our network. And up until now, that's been a bit of a wall for our Webcasters users who want to live stream over a captive network. So now we have a new function built into the firmware of the Webcaster that will allow you to open up a browser within your Webcaster using the HDMI out to a monitor. You can open up a browser within the settings and agree to the portal that's going to ask you if you agree, and you say okay, and then you'll be able to get outside of that firewall. Now, it's not always the best way to do live streaming because sometimes those portals come up again an hour later. If you've been to an airport, you're streaming, you're enjoying your lovely internet, and then suddenly it goes down and you have to agree again. So that we can't guarantee that you'll be able to overcome that frustration, but it'll certainly help those of you who want to just make sure you can get your stream out in some way over a captive network. So that's our Webcaster news for the day. And hopefully we'll have more Webcaster updates and other updates. We have Pearl Mini coming out in a couple of weeks. We know we've got a mountain of orders already coming in on that product. And we are going to be at Infocom. What is that, June 6th, something like that? Anyway, month and a half, we'll be there. Infocom's in Las Vegas, another huge technology show. We'll have all of our equipment there on display, so come see us there. And that's about it for us. I don't remember what our topic is for next week, so I'm not going to promote it. But we'll be here next week at 3 o'clock. Please join us. And thanks so much for watching, and thanks for all the great feedback. Martin Lopez is asking, what camera do you use? I'm guessing you're asking about what camera we're using for this show, and in this case, we are using our Canon C100. It's like a giant SLR with a form factor that you can hold for video. It's fantastic. We also sometimes use a Sony A6300 if we want to do 4K, because that has a nice clean 4K output on that. So that's what we've got for today. And make sure there's no other comments here. Yeah, that's about it. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Geraldine.